Hey guys, welcome to the daily analysis for today. It is Wednesday, December 5th. And so today, some interesting things going on in the market. One of the things that we noted yesterday was the pound looking like it was reversing back towards some of the major levels, especially on the pound New Zealand, also to some extent on the pound odd. So we'll cover that and a few other major pairs and patterns and levels as well. But before we get into all of that, let's go ahead and take a look at our news so we can see what major events are going to affect the continuation or reversal of what we're seeing now. Alright guys, so a decent amount of news coming out tomorrow, especially during the New York session. You can see that we get started off with some pound news, that's asset purchase facility. Also more pound news with bank rate and rate statement. Then that 8:30 pileup of news hits with building permits for Canadian, of course unemployment claims because it's a Thursday for the US dollar, building permits for Canadian dollar, ECB press conference in the Eurozone, and then at 10 a.m. There's IBPMI for Canadian. So a lot of news packed together during that New York session, and so make sure that you're paying attention tomorrow. It could be a very active and interesting Thursday New York session with all of this news piled up at one time. And these are our terms, basically just say, we're not registered or licensed by any type of securities broker dealer, investment advisor, anything like that. We are simply a website here that's offering you free, valuable education based on our own personal opinions, and that's all, nothing more. Alright, so with that said, let's go ahead and move over to the charts. Alright guys, so as you may know, the euro dollar had somewhat of a bearish day today. You can see that based on the bar that I have right here, if I move this line up just a little bit. Did not make up a ton of ground, but still somewhere near this area made a reversal, trying to push back down. And so it's a matter of time before we know if this is any kind of actual reversal signal that's trying to push price back down, or if it's just stalling out before moving higher. There's not a great long pin bar pushing with a lot of momentum back down, so not a lot of confidence yet in this bar, but it does appear that the euro is trying to at least stall out. It's it might not be reversing, but it's at least stalling out, so we'll see if there's some continuation. You can see that during this run hardly any bearish movement was made. I mean, the biggest bar is like this little doji bar here, so not a lot of bearish momentum. So this is actually saying something that we had this little reversal pin bar. And again, if this continues with any kind of decent bar tomorrow, for instance something like this, then I'll be looking for some short entries following that continuation. Alright guys, next we have the pound dollar here, and obviously we mentioned before that the pound dollar broke out with some nice momentum through this trend line that has been tested for a long time. Pretty powerful trend line, but we did have a break, and now we're starting to get this little rounding motion up here with the top of these wicks. And what it looks like to me is that this pound dollar is coming down to test this trend line. So anywhere in this zone coming down, it could make a bounce back up. It could re-enter below the trend line. That I don't really have, a great feel on. I don't have anything to base that on. But it does look like it's rounding out to at least come back and make a test of this trend line, which is something that I'll be looking for. So keep an eye on that as well. Alright, and where the pound was able to break out, the odd still not able to break out. You can see still being contained just barely right inside this area, and so I'm going to continue to follow this, and if it continues to tighten up, obviously we'll be waiting for that breakout. But as of right now, odd still tightening up, and it's just a matter of time before we see that eventual breakout of one side to the other there on the odd. Hey guys, just a quick note, USD still is in this range here that you see that I've drawn since this very bullish breakout. We've sat back into this range, but a very strong bar today, so watch tomorrow. Tomorrow could be a very strong rejection from this very bullish bar today, or this could lead to a continuation of a breakout. So, this is a strong breakout here, some consolidation, and we might get the next leg soon based on how bullish it was today. Just keep an eye on that USD yen. Certainly don't want to miss a great run and a good opportunity to take advantage of lots of pips. Alright guys, and the euro pound is another one that we've mentioned, and it is still hanging up in this area. Like I said, a lot of these pairs are just not making great moves. Euro pound is another one still hanging right along this trend line, right in line with this major resistance area here. So we're just kind of hanging, waiting for it to make a move. I mean, it's made some bullish momentum. You can see that since we were, kind of struggling here. It's made a few bars up, but still just hanging really for the most part, not making a lot of definite progress, especially because this trend line is still very much in play, and we're expecting this to either get broken up or to knock price back down, but neither one is happening. It's just kind of hanging and riding it up. So it's hard to be bullish when it's just kind of riding the bottom very slowly of an upward trend line, because you want to see it break through, bounce off the trend line, and move up if you're going to be bullish. But obviously you can't be bearish either because it's still slightly moving up. So kind of an ugly little situation there, but we'll wait for some better movement and look to take advantage of the euro pound when something does break there. Alright, let's take a look at one more pair here. Alright guys, and the last pair I want to take a look at here is the pound New Zealand. And you can see it, the pound New Zealand, of course, came right back to this exact level at the base here, and it's testing that now. Obviously, we did have a bullish break, topped out and reversed right back down, and now it broke not only through the original downward trend line, but also came all the way through there and is now testing the bottom baseline, as I mentioned, of this triangle here. So of course, now we're looking for, is it going to actually break through the bottom now? Was the top break a fake and now it's going to break through the bottom? Or is it going to stay in, tighten up a little bit more, and then attempt a second break to the upside or the downside? Is there going to be a second break later? And right now it looks like this level is holding it. You can see a small bounce off the level so far, and we'll continue to monitor that, of course, and give you some information as to what we're expecting on that. But right now it's interesting because it was an immediate reversal of the break, and not only a reversal, not only a retest of the line it broke, but a retest all the way down to the lower level, which is pretty interesting. So keep an eye on that, stay tuned to these levels, and keep waiting on that pound New Zealand, because eventually, as tricky as it can be, eventually it's going to be a great trade. Alright, and I think that's about it for the daily analysis, guys. I do appreciate all those of you who watch, and make sure you leave a comment or question or anything below if you have anything on your mind. Alright, talk to you soon.